Hi all, Cynthia here. Welcome back. Today I'm going to work on a 12 by 12 layout. So I have 3 photos here, this 4 by 6 and then a couple of smaller photos. I'm going to grab them all and mount them on this piece of scrap white cardstock that I have. There we go. So these little ones are 2 by 2. I'm just going to mount them and trim them out. I generally like to have my photos have a little bit of a white border around them. Occasionally I'll put a black border around the photo, but most of the time it's white. I just think it helps them pop off the page that little bit more and stand out from the background papers. Trimming those down, and then I will move on to seeing what I can do with the layout. So as always, I don't really have a plan on how I'm going to make this come together. I've pulled out the papers that the main papers that are in the kit, and I'm going to go from there. So this is working with my August kit from the Wild Hair kits, and coming down to the last of the papers now. So I have this travel piece of paper down the bottom, and that's from the Crepe Paper Here and Now collection. I think the paper was called Tour Guide, and I want to use that up. I've already used the other part of it on a layout. And I have to say the only thing that I knew I was going to use for this page was that little scooter that I'm have right there. So this is a bike ride that we all took while I was on holidays, and my husband hired a power assist push bike where all the rest of us went with the good old-fashioned just true leg power. So when I saw that little scooter, even though it's not a bike as such, I thought it was going to be perfect for this layout. So the colour of the bike as well did help me pull out that striped paper that had the pink tones on it. I thought that went quite well with the bike, so I want to make sure I try to bring that in as well. So I think I started off thinking I would use this paper here, this travel guide paper, more across the middle. That as it's gone along, I decided that I like it more towards the bottom of the paper. So I'm going to tuck a little bit of this pink paper behind it and mount it all down. So going to pop up this main photo. So I've been using the leftover of the chipboard. So I've just got a big stack of chipboard here. I'm going to put that down and then trim off a little extra and then fill in a couple of bits of gaps as well. And that's just enough to pop it up. So I'm using, even though it is sticky already, I do use some extra glue on that because it really, we all know what chipboard's like. It doesn't stick at all. So just to make sure that stays down. So the way the photo and that bike sits at the moment is pretty much the way it ends up. And now I pull out the puffy stickers or thickers from the pack and decide what I want to use. I want to use one of these for the title, but I realise I have a couple of frames here and these little photos would be perfect for it. So even though I've mounted my photos on white cardstock, I'm just going to put one on the black frame and one with the white frame and cut those out and use them like that, so you can't tell in the end that I have mounted them on white cardstock, that is. Going through these labels here, and I think down there at the bottom of the label, at the bottom of the image, I might have just the tiniest little bit of the white showing maybe, and I don't think that was quite the right size. They're just a tad short, so just seeing what I can do to sort of cover that up. It doesn't bother me too much, but I think if I can find something to go there, I will. What else am I going to do? I think I start going through the most of the embellishments here in a minute and seeing what I can use. So as the main photo there is going to be popped up, this one that is overlapped, I'm going to need to pop up as well so it sits evenly. Just going to tape this down first. So the photos here, as I said, are of a bike ride that we went on. So recently in July, our family went on a holiday to Queensland, Australia. Went with our son and we met up with my husband's daughter and her partner. And on this particular day, we took a gorgeous bike ride. We probably took about, maybe, I would say we rode for a couple of hours. We just rode along the boardwalk, ended up at a beach, and then we come back and rode back the opposite direction. And it was just a glorious day. It was a beautiful ride. So just bringing in here, I do like the look of that vacation, but I think it's just a little bit too much black. So I'm seeing what else I can use, and in the end I decide to use that Explore. But first off, I'm thinking that I'm going to need to put the Explore on something so it doesn't float. And I think, well, if I get some washi tape out and put it in a couple of different places, that will help. I put it down up the top here. Am I the only one that gets annoyed when washi tape just does not stick? Drives me insane. So I get a little bit of glue out here and put it underneath, and then I just wipe away the excess glue. It will dry clear so you don't see it. But it's still frustrating that you need to do that. And then I come back in here in a minute and I think about putting the washi tape underneath the title, but it doesn't work and I end up coming up with a couple of different plans. I want to use this little piece of chipboard here that says "Run away with me." Even though we're not running away, I just think it works quite well with spit the words out, girl. I think it just works quite well with this layout. That is what I'm trying to say. So here you see me trying to figure out whether I should be backing that title on anything so it stands out a little bit, but I decided not to. Grabbing out the little tweezers, just helping me lay it down. Sitting the E aside because it's going to be a bit of a tricky one. Do I tuck it under that black photo or do I try to pop it up over top even though there's a different height? So I decide just to leave it. Put it in the too hard basket. I'll come back to that later. And just going to put that down there. And liking the way that comes together. And now I'm going to decide with the E. Do I have it low? Do I have it over top? Will I tuck it in underneath? And I start off with it over top like that. And you'll see in a little while I change it up a little bit and I pull that up and put it slightly different, but we'll get to that soon. Just going to put some of this gold glittery tape along this strip here because I think there's another couple of elements that have gold glitter on it that I want to incorporate as well. So I just put a tiny little touch down there, and then when I bring in the rest of it a bit later, it will all tie together. Lost the end of the washi tape because I want to put a little strip up the top as well. And there we go. I put a little strip up there. First off, remember to put the glue down. Add the strip, and we're done. Really liking the way this comes together. Think that I'm going to put that washi tape, as I said, underneath the word Explore, but just didn't like the way it was looking, so I pull that up, and maybe I'll just put a little bit underneath that photo, and that will work for me. And this is where I decide to tuck the E in underneath the photo, and I quite like that. But I need to move it just a little bit down as the bike sort of covers up the wheel to the bike, just making it not sit quite right. So I just pull that second bit down a little bit. So even though I pulled off all the thickness on the chipboard, just so it's not quite so thick, I do need to pop this side up just a little, as that puffy frame has just got a little bit of thickness on that side and I'm sitting up on it. So I'm just going to put a small piece down there. Put that one on there, and then I need to do the same with the bike, because some of it's popped up a little bit on the chipboard and the puffy stickers. I need to add just a little bit of dimension here and there to it. So I just cut this up and stick that down. A couple more places yet, just to make sure it's not going to bend over a period of time. I'm liking the way that comes together. Sometimes I get up and turn the hot glue gun on for pieces like this, and other times I use my tape. I probably think the hot glue gun work a little bit better, but today I've decided to use the tape and some glue. Just holding that steady while it sort of takes a little bit. And then I'm going to move on. I go back to the puffy sticker sheet here. Oh, looks like I thought I cut that bit out. Sorry about that. When I scrap, I generally watch some other people scrap. I don't know who I was watching there. You might be able to pick it out, but we'll see. I was watching someone. So go into the chipboard as well and see if there's any other pieces that I can use. And I do use that piece there that says, let's do this. Is that what it says? Something like that. And I had a piece that I've lost and can't find where I put it, so I move on. And this is where I decide that I'll bring these tiny little black strips in, and I'll sit them underneath the title, which kind of helps it feel like it's not floating as much. So I just trimmed that one off to make it go around the P. Liking the way that comes together. What you don't see me do on camera is put my journaling on. In fact, I totally forgot that I have not added my journaling, because I certainly want to talk about how hubby hired the power assist bike, and we gave him a little bit of stick the whole time. Putting a couple of those, what are those, geotags. I desperately wanted to use them. There's a couple on the puffy stickers that I think, well, if I'm never going to use, if I don't use them on this layout, when am I ever going to use them? So I do shuffle them around a little bit. They come off and they go on, and they come off, and I think in the end a couple stay on. Love that little green arrow. I just want to bring that green down there, and there's a little pop up the top as well. And I think I do bring another black geotag back in, because I just want to put a bit of black over onto that side. I think. There we go. Maybe that's what I did. Can't quite remember. Feel like I put it on somewhere. Anyway, I stick it down, and that comes to the end of it, basically. No, doesn't look like it made it in the end. Lots of close-up photos. Make sure you stay tuned. Please give me the thumbs up if you like it. Leave me a comment. Love reading them all. And as always, until next time, everyone have a lovely day, a lovely week, or a lovely month. And I will talk to you on the next video. Until then, bye.